Imagine walking across the Earth 50,000 years ago. You would not be alone. The world was shared by multiple human species, each adapted to their own harsh environments. There were thick-boned survivors built to withstand the freezing ice age. There were tiny island dwellers who hunted dwarf elephants. There were mysterious wanderers known to us today only by fragments of bone and shadows in our DNA. Earth was a crowded planet of diverse, intelligent hominins. Fast forward to today, and look around. We are entirely alone. Homo sapiens stands as the sole surviving branch of a once massive family tree. We are the last ones left. But why? What happened to our ancient cousins? Did they fall victim to an unrelenting, brutal climate? Or did we, the seemingly innocent Homo sapiens, have blood on our hands? The truth is far darker and much more complicated than a simple tale of survival. Evolution did not just create humans once and stop. It experimented wildly. It created bodies for the deep cold and brains for different ways of thinking. Yet, one by one, every single experiment failed, except for us. To understand this extinction, we must first look at Homo erectus. They were the ultimate survivors. Appearing over 2 million years ago, they possessed bodies built for long-distance running. They were the first to leave Africa. They walked across continents, settling in distant lands like Asia. Homo erectus survived for over 1 million years. That is vastly longer than our own species has even existed. They tamed fire. They crafted tools. They adapted to shifting climates and changing landscapes with incredible resilience. But roughly 100,000 years ago, they vanished entirely. Their final refuge was an island in Indonesia. Did the changing climate wipe them out? Perhaps their isolated populations simply could not adapt fast enough to the shifting forests. Or maybe newer, more adaptable humans pushed them out of their ecological niche. Their disappearance proves a terrifying point. Longevity does not guarantee permanence. Even the most successful species can be erased from the fossil record. They faded into the earth. And they were not the only ones. Consider the Neanderthals, our closest and most famous relatives. They were not mindless, lumbering brutes. They were incredibly sophisticated survivors of the bitter cold. Their bodies were stocky, powerfully built to retain heat in freezing temperatures. They hunted massive, dangerous Ice Age beasts at point-blank range. They suffered broken bones and brutal injuries, yet they survived. We know they cared for their sick and buried their dead with profound respect. They possessed culture, created art, and commanded fire. For hundreds of thousands of years, Europe and Asia belonged to them. Then, around 40,000 years ago, they disappeared. This extinction coincides suspiciously with the arrival of Homo sapiens in their territories. Did we hunt them down in an ancient, global war? Probably not. The reality was likely 1,000 tiny, fatal cuts. Neanderthals lived in small, isolated groups that were highly vulnerable to sudden disasters. A bad winter or a failed hunt could wipe out an entire tribe. Furthermore, the climate was rapidly fluctuating. Their world was quite literally melting and reshaping around them. When Homo sapiens arrived, we brought wider social networks and faster innovation. We didn't necessarily kill them with spears. We outcompeted them for shrinking resources. We absorbed some of them through interbreeding. Slowly, their unique genetic identity was diluted and lost. They were overwhelmed. They simply could not keep up with our relentless expansion. Meanwhile, in the vast expanses of Asia, the denisovans roamed. They are the ghosts of human evolution. We know almost nothing about their physical appearance. Most of our knowledge comes from a single, tiny finger bone found in a remote Siberian cave. Yet, their DNA tells a story of a widespread, successful human species. They adapted to high altitudes and extreme environments. Some modern humans still carry their genes today. But as a living, breathing population, they too faded into extinction. Was it the changing climate? Or were they absorbed by incoming waves of Homo sapiens? We may never fully know. Then there is the strangest story of all. On the isolated island of Flores, an entirely different human species evolved. Homo floresiensis, famously nicknamed the hobbits, stood barely a meter tall. Island ecosystems force animals to adapt in bizarre ways. To survive limited resources, these humans shrank in size. They hunted giant rats and dwarf elephants with tiny stone tools. They survived until roughly 50,000 years ago. Their extinction date is hauntingly familiar. It aligns perfectly with the time modern humans were migrating through the region. A volcanic eruption or climate shift could have doomed them. But a new, highly cooperative predator entering their island would have been absolutely devastating. Small, isolated populations cannot survive sudden ecological shocks. One bad generation is all it takes. They were wiped off the map. We were the only ones left standing. So, why did we survive when everyone else perished? We were not necessarily the strongest. We definitely were not the most resilient to the cold. Our brains were not even the largest. Our true superpower was our ability to connect. Homo sapiens built expansive, intricate social networks. We shared ideas, traded tools, and passed down complex knowledge across vast distances. If one tribe failed, another could step in and carry the culture forward. We were highly adaptable. We could quickly adjust our behavior to survive in a scorching desert or a freezing tundra. But we must also acknowledge the chilling role of sheer luck. We happened to be in the right places with the right numbers at the perfect time. The other human species were not flawed experiments. They were completely valid ways of being human. They had their own rich histories, their own struggles, and their own triumphs. Their extinction is a profound tragedy of prehistory. We did not simply outsmart them. We outconnected them. We absorbed them. And, in some cases, our arrival was the final catalyst for their demise. Today, we sit at the top of the evolutionary ladder. We look down at the scattered bones of our ancient cousins, but their silence offers a stark warning for our own future. Extinction does not only claim the weak. It claims the isolated. It claims those who cannot adapt to a rapidly changing world. We are currently changing the planet faster than any species in history. If we are not careful, we might share their fate. We could become the last forgotten ghosts of a once crowded Earth.